never ever say that I will not pitch to a analyst or a junior associate of a firm. The first line of defense is the junior associate or the senior analyst in a fund. They are the ones who
उन्होंने present करना है.
वो present करते हैं.
That is for all the founders, है ना?
I actually left for China for about 8 days. एक बार उस समय लगा मेरे को कि ये मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ. It's a very lonely journey at times.
Humility के बिना कोई सस्टेनेंस
नहीं है, सब है ना, सेम है.
मतलब जितनी भी ग्रेट कंपनीज और ग्रेट फाउंडर्स बने या ग्रेट प्रोफेशनल्स बने, अल्टीमेटली सब में एक कॉमन चीज़ है, ह्यूमिलिटी ने उनको सस्टेन्ड एक्सेलेंस या सस्टेन्ड सक्सेस दिलवाया है ना.
बिल्कुल. That time we were trying to raise all of 5 crores of capital, and that time the Harshad Mehta scam happened. SEBI changed its guidelines completely for anyone raising capital. So that was the first time I actually felt vulnerable. What do I choose? Do I choose more business? Do I choose loyalty?
कोई कंपनीज का नाम देना जिनके लिए आप मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहे थे.
All of these Unilever, PNG, Himalaya, Tata, Dabur. India today has over 25 to 30 crores of LED bulbs. To have played a small minuscule role in that gives me so much joy.
Small तो नहीं है, it's a significant role. South Asia's largest plastic packaging company to now wearing the hat of a venture capitalist.
Don't get trapped in this valuation game. Don't build for the investors.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Journey podcast with Simarpreet Singh. मैं हर बार बोलता हूँ कि यार कोई आज स्पेशल गेस्ट है और we are going to interact, we are going to learn, उनसे सीखेंगे. Today is not only a special guest but my very good close friend, my senior in college, Mr. Ankit Kedia. Ankit Kedia was the promoter director of Manjushree Technopack, one of Asia's largest packaging company, and uske baad ab now he's become a shark, right? He's become an investor. He's now the founder of Capital A as a venture capitalist, and now supporting the young India, उनको support कर रहे हैं, उनको invest कर रहे हैं उनके dreams में, and really contributing in nation building. Thank you for specially coming down from Bangalore to our studio here. मतलब घर पे आप आए हो हमारे, and it's really I'm really humbled to.
Absolute pleasure. Studio is an understatement. I think this is a beautiful setup, and to have it just under your roof, literally, I think it's. I think you are having a lot of fun.
Yeah. तो हमने थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस करने की कोशिश की है. बाकी आई थिंक बातचीत करते हैं, समझते हैं. सो आपने फैमिली की बात की एंड आपने तो पहले वहाँ से स्टार्ट करते हैं. योर अर्ली लाइफ, योर चाइल्डहुड, हाउ वाज इट?
सो माय एंटायर फैमिली वी यूज्ड टू लिव इन गुवाहाटी, असम. 8 बजे गुवाहाटी जो सबसे बड़ी शहर है असम में, 8 बजे blackout. I mean, absolutely no car, no rickshaw on the road because people were scared. And I started my schooling there and went to a convent school called Don Bosco. And in 95 we moved to Bangalore.
Okay.
And हमारा उस समय गुवाहाटी में मेरे फादर ने छाते का बिजनेस चालू किया था, अम्ब्रेला. दैट वाज वेयर
द बेस्ट फंडामेंटल ऑफ बिजनेस है ना, सप्लाई डिमांड.
आई मीन सामने ग्राहक को छाता चाहिए. सबसे पहले अगर आपको कुछ सिंपल चालू करना हो, look for what people need and then start from there. You will evolve as you go. The seasonality of that business and slightly unorganized nature of that business at that time made him look for other avenues. And it so happened that he was in Delhi for some...
This is 94, 95.
This was, I think, no, this was 80s, early 80s.
Early 80s, okay.
Early 80s. So my father was a young entrepreneur, just married. किसी काम से गए थे दिल्ली. और मतलब कभी कभार होता है ना कि it's a signal sent by God.
Right.
He was sitting in this place and suddenly there was this man who he was having tea with and just struck a conversation and said कि चल तेरे को मैं कुछ दिखाता हूँ मैं. और दिल्ली में प्रगति मैदान ले गए. वहाँ पे हर साल एक प्लास्टिक की एग्जीबिशन होती है कॉल्ड प्लास्ट इंडिया. एंड वहाँ पर मेरे फादर को ले गए और वहाँ पे देखते ही my father said that ये क्या दुनिया है भाई, मतलब एक अलग ही दुनिया. You have machineries, you have plastic pouches coming out and everything, and that's when he realized that ये मैं किस धंधे में हूँ, मैं ये असम में छाते बेच रहा हूँ मैं. I think I want to try my hand at this. Imagine during that license Raj, at its peak, जहाँ आपको कुछ भी, गुवाहाटी के सबसे नज़दीक शहर थी कोलकाता. कोलकाता से कुछ मंगाने के लिए भी आपको एक लाइसेंस चाहिए होता था. इमेजिन इट वाज एज गुड एज एन इम्पोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट लाइसेंस. तो टू गेट अ मशीनरी फ्रॉम अहमदाबाद टू गुवाहाटी in those logistically challenged times, you can imagine what would have been the situation. There was a demand for pouches which would enable the packaging of tea.
Okay.
Assam, as we know it, is one of the largest producer of tea leaves in the world. और वहाँ पे अरोमा और इसकी फ्लेवर और इसकी जो टेस्ट को प्रिजर्व करने के लिए चाय बिकती थी जूट बैग में. जूट बैग में आपका ये जो चाय की जो ये खुशबू है वगैरह सारी डिजॉल्व हो जाती है या इवॉल्व हो जाती है, whatever you call it. And I think pouches was the ultimate solution for that. So that's how he started his journey in plastic packaging. And I have to give it to the man. To be an entrepreneur in the manufacturing sector in a place like Assam where there is complete political instability during those days, with alpha militants and all kind of Mao activities, to have the guts and audacity to say that मैं ये करूँगा और मैं असम में करूँगा और मैं अपने terms and conditions पे करूँगा, and I will do it at an age of 25. I think it is indescribable.
This I actually didn't know. I thought that कि जो प्लास्टिक का जो स्टार्ट हुआ था वो बैंगलोर में हुआ था स्टार्ट.
प्लास्टिक की जो जर्नी है, दो तरह की प्लास्टिक होती है, एक फ्लेक्सिबल प्लास्टिक और एक रिजिड प्लास्टिक. जो फ्लेक्सिबल पाउच की बिजनेस है उसको फ्लेक्सिबल प्लास्टिक कहते हैं. तो दिस फ्लेक्सिबल बिजनेस स्टार्टेड इन गुवाहाटी. द असमीज कल्चर.
Tell me something about that यार. I've not got that experience वहाँ पे Assamese culture. मतलब क्या है क्या? 12 साल is a good time to really experience that, है ना?
Northeast or Seven Sisters as it's fondly called, Assam happens to be at the center of everything. तो अगर कोई किसी को गुवाहाटी और Assam is the gateway to many other all the other Northeast states. But I think the people of Assam have this very calm and composed nature about them. One of the first few things that we learned when I learned rather was it's don't ever piss off an Assamese person, because they are very good when they are calm and composed. But then the moment you get on their bad side,
मतलब पंगा लेना ही नहीं है.
पंगा नहीं लेना उनके साथ में, एकदम नहीं लेना.
This is a like पूरा वो डाल दिया नहीं पंगा.
100%. I think the move from Bangalore, from Guwahati to Bangalore, was born out of a fire in the belly, where both my father and my uncle decided कि
सुरेंद्र सर ना, सुरेंद्र केडिया जी.
सुरेंद्र जी केडिया, my चाचू.
जी.
And it so happened that he wanted to move to a different city, and he saw an ad in the paper कि there was a company manufacturing flexible pouches in Bangalore that was up for sale. That discussion never saw the light of the day, but he fell in love with the city.
मतलब उसके पहले आए थे बैंगलोर कभी वो?
उससे पहले कभी नहीं
आए. First time in Bangalore.
First time in Bangalore.
And in love with the city. And तब उस टाइम पे बैंगलोर बन रहा था ना, सिलिकॉन.
Bangalore was the any retired person's paradise.
जो चंडीगढ़ है अब है, जो चंडीगढ़ मोहाली को आप बोलते हैं थोड़ा बहुत. हाँ, correct, ठीक है.
When that discussion fell through, he then contacted the industrial board. वहाँ पे जो कर्नाटका इंडस्ट्रियल एसोसिएशन डेवलपमेंट बोर्ड है, KIADB, वहाँ पे उन्होंने ऐसे ही बात चलाई कि अगर मेरे को यहाँ पे इंडस्ट्री सेटअप करना है तो क्या करना होगा. He got a fantastic welcome. The secretary, the commissioner, and all of them gave him literally, मतलब उन्होंने उनको गले नहीं लगाया, बस वही बाकी था. उस समय गवर्नमेंट ने PVC बॉटल्स जो होती है, बिस्लरी की पानी जो PVC बॉटल में आती थी, पॉलीविनाइल क्लोराइड, that was banned, and that gave an opportunity for the introduction of PET bottles. which was far more food grade, friendly in terms of recycling and everything. My father said, छोड़ो ये flexible business तो छोड़ो, let's try something new. तो मेरे father ने एक अच्छी चीज़ करी उस समय. He put me in Kannada tuitions.
Okay.
Kannada is the local language of
Yeah.
Karnataka.
Yeah.
By the time I entered 7th standard in Bangalore, I knew how to read and write and speak
Wow.
Kannada. But again, I got access. I was very fortunate to get admission into one of the best schools in Bangalore called Bishop Cotton Boys School. That is when I realized that sky is the limit in terms of whatever you want to do, whether it's art or creativity or music. And I picked up music. So yeah, we all moved to Bangalore. But one thing what happened is we were all together in a joint family. We moved to Bangalore in '96, and my chachu was in Guwahati, and he was handling the business over there. क्योंकि पापा ने कहा कि एक बिजनेस जो चलते आ रही है उसको बंद नहीं करेंगे. 2 भाई में से एक भाई मूव करेगा यहाँ पे, बिजनेस सेटअप करेगा. जब उसकी नैया निकल गई तब मैं तेरे को बुला लूँगा. And that precisely happened in 99, 2000. I think the drive for two different people, even if they are brothers or sisters, need not be the same. The drive for my father was कि हम इतने साल चलते एक साथ चलते आए हैं, एक साथ चलते रहेंगे, चाहे बिजनेस हो, चाहे फैमिली हो, चाहे कुछ भी हो, साथ में ही रहेंगे. I think the business was secondary, but the primary motive to call Chachu was here कि यार let's just come to Bangalore and we'll live together as a family. I think that was one of the biggest reasons of the success of Manjushree.
These two brothers, right? आपने बात बोली कि यार देखेंगे बिजनेस होता है, बात की बात है, बट साथ में करना है, right? What is the learning out of that, right? Any two young brothers who are starting up right now, right, seeing this, right, what is the learning from the Kedia brothers that you want to tell them?
I think it's the value system at the end of the day. Both of them, despite having ideologically different mindsets in terms of how they want to lead their lives, the fundamentals were same. कि हम अपनी फैमिली को साथ में रखेंगे, हमारे बच्चे साथ में पलेंगे, एक्टिविटीज़ जो है घर की, त्यौहार जो है सब साथ में मनेगी. उससे एक प्यार बढ़ेगा, उससे एक बॉन्डिंग रहेगी. बिकॉज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे आज एक फैमिली अगर इकट्ठे रहती है, उसके बियॉन्ड और कुछ सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं है कुछ. मतलब क्या आप बिजनेस में आप पैसे कमा लोगे, शोहरत कमा लोगे, फेम कमा लोगे, बट at the end of the day, when you go back home, it's your family that you go back to. And that is completely different from the value system that exists in the US and Europe.
लोगों को अंकित भाई पता है कि मंजूश्री नाम आपकी बुआ का था?
हाँ जी.
उसके बारे में कुछ आप शेयर करो. आपने फैमिली के बारे में बात कर रहे हो.
It's a tribute. Manjushree is a tribute to my bua, who I unfortunately never had the fortune to meet. But I know for sure that she is always looking upon us, always guiding us, mentoring us in some way or some form. But she passed away at a very young age due to a terminal illness. And Manjushree, her name was Manju, and the Shri was added, and that is it's my favorite word, divinity of the brand Manjushree. चाहे वो हमारे business से associated है वो, या after selling the business to a private equity fund, if it exists in a different avatar, we can never ever wish that anything bad happens to that brand ever.
Name and brand.
I think whatever we are due to that divinity of Manjushree.
Beautiful. This is a classic tribute by the brothers to उनकी sister को ना. Manjushree Technopack पे आते हैं, right? And when did you enter? Tell us something about the business that you built as a family. It was a family business. तो मुझे early days when you entered वो थोड़ा बताओ, and then what Manjushree became, and then we'll talk about Advent and private equity, वो फिर बाद में वो करेंगे. But what was Manjushree doing for our viewers जो लोग सुन रहे हैं, right? अगर आपने मुझे एक बार बहुत पहले बोला था कि अगर सिमर तूने अगर कोक या पेप्सी कुछ पिया है तो वो मंजूश्री ने बनाई है, राइट? तो मुझे पहले थोड़ा सा बताओ कि मंजूश्री टेक्नोपैक ने क्या किया इतने साल, एंड देन टेल अस अबाउट हाउ यू जॉइंड एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट.
I went to the US for my undergrad to Western Michigan, pursued my food marketing program over there because we were in food packaging. Food marketing was a subject which was very close to my heart. Worked there for a bit for, I think you saw that post of mine on LinkedIn, a company called Roundy Supermarkets.
उसमें मैंने कमेंट भी किया था, मैं कहा यू लुकिंग वेरी वेरी स्मार्ट, एंड आई वाज गेटिंग डिस्ट्रैक्टेड
and at least 15 kgs lighter.
मैं तो पोस्ट ही नहीं पढ़ी, मैंने पिक्चर देखी, मैं कह रहा अंकित भाई तो एकदम बहुत ही स्टेलर लग रहे हैं इसमें.
Thank you. I remember when we were at the airport and my parents were dropping me off. पापा ने मेरे को एक ही चीज कही कि देख तू जा रहा है अमेरिका, तू खत्म होते ही आएगा वापस.
2000 this is
2003 when I left.
Three you went. Okay.
And he said कि जैसे ही खत्म होगा तू आएगा. Don't even think of getting a job over there. Don't even think of doing anything else over there. यहाँ पर जो भी हम कर रहे हैं, there's enough and more work to do. Obviously when you are younger over there and you know एक अलग है, और plus when you see your classmates कि कोई Walmart ज्वाइन कर रहा है, कोई Apple ज्वाइन कर रहा है, कोई ये ज्वाइन कर रहा है, वो ज्वाइन कर रहा है. एक बार आने के पहले मेरी कोर्स ख़त्म हुई और एक बार आने के पहले ऐसा लगा कि यार ये क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं. आई वॉज रियली हैविंग अ गुड टाइम देयर. बोथ आई वॉज पार्टिंग at the same time I was studying very hard. My grades were good. I thought I deserved a couple of years to stay there more. I came back. आते ही सबसे पहले डैड ने मेरे को शॉप फ्लोर पे डाला. Now mind you, I am a commerce graduate. मैंने BBA करी थी, और शॉप फ्लोर पे आने का मतलब है टू लर्न हाउ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वर्क्स फ्रॉम द लेंस ऑफ अ कॉमर्स ग्रेजुएट was very different. I was not given any fancy post, no designation per se. Neither was I called a trainee. But I was given very strict instruction. You will not bypass the factory manager. He is, if you want something, get it done. But it has to be through him. So I wasn't given any powers as such when I joined in 2006. At that time, like I said, it felt like injustice, but I am extremely grateful for that. And 4 साल जो मैंने shop floor पे बिताई, I think that sort of shaped my career, or even defined my career thereafter. And on the shop floor, it's not about just learning about how a machine operates to make plastic bottles or plastic jars. But the fact that there are a bunch of engineers who know you are the owner's son. They treat you with respect, but yet they will, if you come up with some bullshit theory, they are not going to take it. And no one will ever take shit from a 22-year-old.
Absolutely.
Right? I remember an incident कि हमारी फूड पैकेजिंग या फूड सेफ्टी की पैकेजिंग जो हम करते थे, दैट वाज गाइडेड बाय वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट गाइडलाइंस, राइट? यू आर पैकिंग कोक, पेप्सी और बॉर्नवीटा.
मेरे को बताओ ना मंजूश्री क्या कर रहा था एक बार उसको.
मंजूश्री टेक्नोपैक
बाय 2008 क्या कर रहा था जब वो करेगा?
2008 वी वर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग everything in rigid plastics. So rigid plastics की definition है anything like PET bottles, the plastic caps and closures, the shampoo bottles, or something called a PET preform, right, which blows into a bottle.
कोई companies का नाम देना जिनके लिए आप manufacture कर रहे थे.
All of these, name any FMCG brand under the sun. Wow. Unilever, P&G, homegrown brands like Himalaya, Tata,
So
Dabur.
उनका जो शैम्पू था या जो उनकी जो प्लास्टिक बॉटल जिसमें
हाँ
आता
जी,
है वो पीछे अगर देखेंगे तो मैन्युफैक्चर्ड बाय मंजूश्री टेक्नोपैक था.
absolutely. You would see the abbreviation MTL, which stood for
MTL.
Manjushree Technopack Ltd.
And
And
by 2019 it became Asia's largest.
I think we were Asia's largest by 2010.
2010 you were largest.
Yes, South
Okay.
Asia's largest in terms of capacity. Our nearest competition was 20% of our size. So we had left the competition far behind. So we went public in 94, by the way, to raise capital for our Bangalore plant. Another public offering happened in 2009. And by the way, 94
2009,
public issue jo thi, not too many people know, we barely scraped through. That time we were trying to raise all of 5 crores of capital. Kuch bhi nahi tha. And that time the Harshad Mehta scam happened. And because of that, SEBI changed its guidelines completely for anyone raising capital in the public market. And in 2008 or 9, we were again unlucky because the
बेस्ट
Reliance...
टाइमिंग है ना, बेस्ट टाइमिंग्स दोनों तरफ बेस्ट टाइमिंग्स रही आपकी. द ग्लोबल रिसेशन चल रहा है उस टाइम पे.
एक ग्लोबल रिसेशन उस समय फिर रिलायंस पावर की जो स्टॉक है वो क्रैश हो गई
2009 ना.
9 में. And again, despite both of this, we still made it. Our banks were very supportive to fund our expansion plans. So the 4 years that I spent on the shop floor,
तो आपका काम क्या था वहाँ पे शॉप फ्लोर में?
शॉप फ्लोर में प्रोडक्शन प्लानिंग
Production
एंड टू मेक श्योर कि मेरे को कि मार्केटिंग से कंप्लेन नहीं आना चाहिए कि मेरा माल नहीं मिला. माई सीट वॉज नेक्स्ट टू द अकाउंटेंट. आई सैट नेक्स्ट टू हिम, राइट, टू लर्न अकाउंटिंग. And at the end of the day, sometimes you have to tally your balance sheet. If your assets and liabilities don't get tallied, an accountant will lose his mind कि यार क्या हो गया मतलब. And I remember this one week that my accountant was on leave. Independently मैं handle कर रहा था, and I miserably failed to tally the balance sheet on those 7 days. I was not able to do it. एंड हुआ क्या, उसके चलते 7 दिन जितने भी वेंडर्स के पेमेंट्स थे सारे ड्यू हो गए. आज तक जो पापा के पास फ़ोन नहीं आया है कि विमल जी मेरे पेमेंट नहीं आए, वो सारे फ़ोन आने चालू हो गए कि कुछ मतलब सब ठीक है क्या. एंड दैट्स व्हेन माय फादर रियलाइज कि कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. एंड व्हेन ही सॉ दैट आई वाज द ओनली वन मैनिंग द अकाउंट्स डेस्क, ही इमीडिएटली इन्फ्यूज्ड समवन एल्स first thing to clear all the vendor payments. And then obviously I learned the hard way on how to do those accounting. So those good old days.
And 2010 के बाद when did you take over the marketing
2010 में
role?
मेरी शादी हुई.
That's a very important milestone.
And that was a promotion in many ways. Because ससुराल वाले जब आते हैं आपको देखने के लिए, तो लड़का घर पर जैसा है उसकी अहमियत ऑफिस में भी है या नहीं है वो देखने के लिए ज़रूर आते हैं. एंड दैट इज़ व्हेन माय फादर रियलाइज कि यार ये तो गड़बड़ है. अगर मैं दिखाऊंगा कि मेरा बेटा शॉप फ्लोर में अभी भी 4 साल से काम कर रहा है, मुश्किल हो जाएगी, रिश्ता होगा नहीं होगा. दैट्स व्हेन ही डिसाइडेड टू गिव मी अ कैबिन. आई एक्चुअली गॉट टू सिट ऑन अ डेस्क विद अ कंप्यूटर, लैपटॉप. एंड दैट्स व्हेन माय रोल ऑल्सो चेंज. आई ग्रेजुएटेड फ्रॉम बीइंग अ शॉप फ्लोर trainee of 4 years into a new role of sales and marketing. Obviously, I was tagging along with Dad whenever he went to meet customers. I think that is when I took on the entire responsibility for one of our sales and marketing divisions. And I was literally traveling 10 to 15 days a month to an extent, or I think I have immense gratitude to my father and my uncle to give me that freedom to independently handle clients. पहले 1 साल 2 साल में तो कस्टमर बात ही नहीं करना चाहता था. बोले अरे यार मतलब वो एक नया लड़का आया है, फ्रेशर
And these are like large MNCs that you're dealing, correct?
We're talking to
Fortune
supply chain
500
heads,
companies, yeah.
R&D heads of companies like Unilever and P&G and GSK. But धीरे धीरे I think ये जो grooming of next generation in family businesses. I think that was very effectively done by my both by my uncle. In fact, I trained under my uncle
Yeah.
and my chachu. He was very instrumental to teach me fundamentals of business, which is padta or costing. अगर कॉस्टिंग आपको नहीं मालूम है अपने बिजनेस के बारे में, और अगर आपको नहीं मालूम है कि कितना खर्चा हो रहा है और कितना मुनाफा हो रहा है, आप बिजनेस कभी चला ही नहीं पाओगे. And I think he took me under his wings. Was absolutely great to work under him. Obviously, we sometimes didn't agree on many things, but that's what it is. Despite the disagreements, to keep moving on, to look at the bigger picture, takes a lot of maturity. Sometimes maturity is a gradual process, sometimes it's an overnight process. I'm glad it happened organically for me.
Just take us through more about your role that you, मतलब आपकी promotion बताओ ना कि कहाँ कहाँ होती रही थोड़ी थोड़ी और.
The first and fundamental about my role in the business was to understand the technical aspects of the business, because we were not selling commodities, we were selling a solution. अगर आज बॉर्नवीटा को अगर एक जार बेचनी है शेल्फ पे इन अ सुपरमार्केट, it's a combination of just beyond a regular plastic डब्बा.
Right. Design है.
डिज़ाइन है,
Correct. Correct.
डेकोरेशन
Placement
है,
है.
प्लेसमेंट
Correct.
है,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
इसकी ग्राफिक अपील है. The brand manager of any of these companies has to evaluate कि अगर आप at an eye level, if you are able to see, and if unless that appeals to you, ग्राहक उसको नहीं उठाएगा. I think that is something which was the first job, to understand the technical aspect of the business and then to go and start becoming creative about it. I remember one of the first projects that I worked on was with the company Nestle to the sipper bottles that you now see with every beverage company now. That was one of the first projects that I independently worked upon. बहुत प्यारा एक ब्रांड मैनेजर था नेस्ले में. He kept on pushing me, and that led to a complete category that came to be known as a pet bottle sipper. Every brand in the country wanted to do it, and they wanted to do it with us. अब I was in a dichotomous situation कि अगर मैं नेस्ले के लिए कर रहा हूँ and they are the ones who introduced this category.
Yeah.
अब मैं थोड़ी हैरानी हो गई मेरे को कि ये कैसे मैनेज करूं, बिकॉज हियर इज समवन हु स्टार्टेड दैट कैटेगरी और कल के दिन मैं ये किसी दूसरे के लिए बनाने लग जाऊं. वेयर इज माई लॉयल्टी टू द ब्रांड? सो दैट इज द फर्स्ट टाइम आई एक्चुअली फेल्ट वल्नरेबल. व्हाट डू आई चूज? डू आई चूज मोर बिजनेस? डू आई चूज लॉयल्टी? आई थिंक if we hadn't done it, someone else would have done it. And I think the bigger picture obviously took over. Another project which I'm extremely proud of, and I perhaps want to call it my own, was when the Prime Minister Modi ji, when they launched the Ujala scheme, which is the LED bulb.
2015, no?
2015,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When they launched the Ujala scheme to manufacture indigenously the LED bulbs, उसकी जो outer part है, that is made out of polycarbonate, a wonderful engineering material used in automobiles, engineering applications. Now that did not exist in India, and when Philips gave us that project, it made me do a whirlwind tour of the world, going to exhibitions, going to places in China, remote villages of China, to discover कि ये प्लास्टिक की जो शेल है, there were European and American machines to manufacture it, but they were very expensive. It was never scalable in a country like India, जहाँ पे करोड़ों बल्ब की टेंडर निकल रही है, वो 50 रुपए में बिक रही है आज के दिन. Because the government launched that scheme with so much euphoria and in so much quantity that every lighting brand in the country wanted to participate in a LED bulb tender. It's a very lonely journey at times. to sit in a remote place taking trials along with your engineers, and not because that my engineers could not do it or my R&D team couldn't do it, but because I was leading the project and this was my first independent project that I was entrusted upon. I wanted to make sure that it is perfect to the T and ensure it from starting to finish. So that is something which I'm extremely proud of, to the greater good for a country. Uh, and I think the journey for sustainability began from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, India today has over 25 to 30 crores of LED bulbs installed in different parts of the country, which is contributing to uh, one fifth the power consumption of a regular incandescent bulb, or three-fifths of a CFL bulb. I think to have played a small, minuscule role in that gives me so much joy.
नहीं, small तो नहीं है, it's a significant role. But I think by 2010 when we were talking about the Manjushree journey and we spoke about कि कैसे start हुआ, the emotion behind it, then you joined in 2006 and 4 साल आपका shop floor में रहा, and then you took over sales and marketing, further expanded it. When did this discussion of private equity started happening? Because why I'm bringing this point, because it's very important, because a traditional family business, right, एक resilience पे build हुआ, उसको scale किया, मतलब almost एक leadership position not only in India but South Asia में बनी. उसके बाद ये कब discussion start हुई private equity की, and then when 2018 just ये बातें I think 2015-16 से start हो गया था already, what I understand.
There was this investment banker who came and met my father and said, केडिया जी बहुत अच्छी बिजनेस कर रहे हो आप, नया प्रोजेक्ट, सारी फैक्ट्री अच्छी चल रही है, यू हैव ब्लू चिप क्लाइंटेल, सब कुछ कर रहे हो, आई थिंक इट्स टाइम दैट यू इतने सालों तक हम बिजनेस चलाते आ रहे हैं, कभी एक बार भी ऐसा नहीं लगा कि देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड वैल्यूइंग योर बिजनेस इन फाइनेंशियल मेट्रिक्स, राइट? And this was due to that investment banker who came and said, your company is valued at, it could be valued at this much. And what if you were to bring on an investor who would be able to bring in capital, which by the way we never needed, and we were positive cash flows from day one. We had very good support of State Bank of India, which today also continues to be our bankers after 42 years. Right from the time my father started the business. But in 2011 when he said that, उस समय थोड़ा सा दिमाग काम करना चालू हुआ कि I think the world is moving at a different place, in a different pace, but never actively thought about it. 2013 में an Indian homegrown private equity fund called Kedara Capital, headed by Manish Kejriwal, son-in-law of Mr. Rahul Bajaj, and Sunish Sharma.
We met Sunish, na?
We met Sunish.
We met Sunish,
managing director, ex-managing director of General Atlantic, very large American private equity fund, and Nishant Sharma, right? They reached out to us and they said, we love what you guys are doing. We are a new fund. And
अच्छा, उस टाइम पे नया फंड था
उनका.
ओह अच्छा, ओके.
And they had just done a couple of investments.
उस टाइम पे कितनी फैक्ट्री थी मंजूश्री की 2013 में?
2013 में दो ही फैक्ट्री,
दो बैंगलोर में ना, दोनों बैंगलोर में. ओके,
दोनों बैंगलोर में.
बट यू वर सप्लाइंग अक्रॉस द कंट्री ना?
We were supplying across the country, but there's a story behind it. We were losing market share of north, क्योंकि हिमाचल बद्दी में और उत्तराखंड में सरकार ने ये टैक्स सब्सिडी अनाउंस करी थी, एक्साइज ड्यूटी, SEZ वगैरह सारे के चलते ऑल आवर कस्टमर्स शिफ्टेड ओवर देयर ओवरनाइट.
श्योर.
एंड साउथ में भी जो कर रहे थे,
मतलब ये सारे यूनिलीवर, योर PNGs एंड योर, तो
हम जो भी फैक्ट्री में सप्लाई कर रहे थे, हमारी सप्लाई बरकरार थी, बट उसके बाद की जो एक्सपेंशन है वो सारे इस जोन में हुई.
करेक्ट.
सो वी वर नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट एक्सपेंशन.
लॉजिस्टिक्सली आपकी कॉस्टिंग बाहर चलेगी.
हम हवा बेच रहे हैं सर.
ठीक है, हाँ, बिल्कुल सही बात. करेक्ट, हवा बेच रहे
हैं. Kedara Capital got in touch and said that we love what you guys are doing. We love the fact that you guys are by far one of the only packaging industry which has a solid customer as clientele, solid balance sheet, P&L, fundamentals are very strong. But I think there is an opportunity that is waiting to get unlocked. We will help you unlock some of those opportunities. You run the business how you want. We will be the GPS for that business. आप बताओ हमारे को क्या काम करना है, कैसे करना है, हम आपको हेल्प करेंगे. Very operationally heavy. We had so we went ahead and
क्या था उनके डील क्या था मतलब 2013 में?
So 2014
2014 it happened. Okay.
2014
They took
is,
stake, na? They took,
yes.
हाँ, okay.
So we were a public listed company.
Okay. Okay.
Kedara said
डीलिस्ट हुआ था कुछ ना?
Sorry,
डीलिस्ट हुआ था कंपनी.
we delisted the company.
करेक्ट हाँ.
Good memory.
हाँ देखो हमारी थोड़ी नहीं मेमोरी भी है, थोड़ी हमारी रिसर्च भी है हमारी टीम की, थोड़ी बात उन्होंने की है. करेक्ट हाँ.
We were the last companies to get delisted before SEBI changed its guideline. The first guideline was 90% of the shares should be in the hand of the promoter to delist. After our delisting process, the guidelines changed that 90% of the shareholders should confirm to delist. We were extremely fortunate. God has been very kind. And Kedara came in with full force. They infused close to $100 million.
कितने 700 करोड़ हो गए उस टाइम
500, 600. They valued the company at 600 crores at that time.
600 करोड़ हो गया.
And
भूल जाते हैं कि डॉलर भी इतना चेंज हो गया इतने साल में.
डॉलर भी चेंज हो गया. एंड फ्रैंकली अगर आप मेरे को पूछोगे द रीजन व्हाई आई may not have the exact figure is
Right.
because it was never about the money. It was never about the capital. But what we loved about
And how much stake did you give that time? मतलब कितना?
It was a significant minority. We gave up about 40% of the company.
Okay, 60% was with the Kedia family.
60% was still with us.
Okay.
So with 40%, a private equity fund has significant skin in the game.
Absolutely.
Right? And that is when all of them, we had a fantastic board. The board of directors was very powerful. We had Mr. Sanjeev Aga, ex-CEO of Idea Cellular on the board. We had Sunish, of course. Mr. Vindi Banga, ex-CEO of Unilever, elder brother of Mr. Ajay Banga. He was on and off in advisory capacity. Mr. Pramod Bhasin, ex-CEO of Genpact. He was again on the advisory board. So I think what they saw in us, and the partnership only works when you are able to leverage on each other's strengths, and that's what we were able to do. Now, I spoke about how we were losing market share in Bangalore because logistically we had 2 factories in Bangalore. Chennai, Hyderabad, Mumbai फिर भी कवर हो जाती थी.
नॉर्थ पार्ट इज मिसिंग.
नॉर्थ में अगर आप किसी की फैक्ट्री अगर राजस्थान में है, दिल्ली में, नोएडा में है, तो मर गए.
बिल्कुल.
और
सारी बद्दी में आ रही थी.
फिर बद्दी. दैट इज व्हेन मतलब एक अपॉर्चुनिटी आई, एक बैंकर आए और उन्होंने बताया कि देयर वाज दिस कंपनी अवेलेबल फॉर सेल हु हैज precisely factories in the same locations that we want, has customers that we don't have,
right,
operated in the exact same business that we did at Manjushree, and it was एक और एक 11 वाली बात. वराही लिमिटेड, उनके प्रमोटर है प्रमीत जी सांगवी.
मंजूश्री टेक्नोपैक्स जर्नी, राइट, 2018 happened. 2019 की बात करते हैं, राइट. आई एम वेरी श्योर कि राइट फ्रॉम डे वन both Kedia brothers never thought कि इसको बेच देंगे completely, right? Of course, 2013 when you're saying that Kedara came, it was a vision to professionalize things and move forward, right?
Yes.
But tell us about the journey कि जो exit किया business थे, and then we'll come to the Ankit Kedia 2.0 part. How's the exit journey? लोगों को लगता है पैसा ही पैसा आ गया ना, इतना ही पैसा आ गया, but how's the journey look like? I need to like let's do a deep dive into what was the discussions like. But this started in 2018?
Early 2018 is when it started. So Kedara was with us while
6 years, no? Almost
about 5 years.
2013 to 2018.
13 से मतलब technically they came on board in early 15 only, but discussion has started in 13.
अच्छा, okay.
तो idea was to build the business, professionalize the business, to have a professional team running the business without direct oversight of the family promoters. But we knew at some point in time they are investors. Either they will sell their
Yeah, stake.
equity to someone else, or they will also take us along in that sale. I think what happened in from day one, but we knew that the time was right. The industry or the business had reached a certain maturity, a different set of folks.
Advent came on board.
And Advent International, which is an American private equity
Boston,
fund,
na? Boston. Okay. US.
one of the world's largest.
World.
We actually triggered a bidding war, and it's in, we had 4 or 5 funds who were wanting to invest in us, right? From TPG, Carlyle, KKR. All of it is public news, so I can speak about it. But we finally divested to Advent.
आपका stake जो
हाँ.
60%
No,
बना.
and Kedara.
Of course.
हाँ. So how these buyout fund works is they take over the entire company and then they run it professionally.
नहीं, but मुझे ये बताओ ना, जो ये amount जो hit होता है account, what was the feeling?
Does it feel good to have that much wealth? It does. You have wealth sitting in the bank, but you didn't know what to do with that wealth the next day. And that probably are the most, the 2 years after that, where I was trying to discover what to do, and I tried my hand in medical devices and
Care more, na?
and whatnot. Caremont was that short 2 years of my life.
So Ankit bhai, 2006 से लेकर to seeing this exit of Manjushree, South Asia's largest plastic packaging company, to now wearing the hat of a venture capitalist, right? And मेरे बहुत questions हैं, right? मतलब अभी आजकल हम हर तरफ ये देख रहे हैं, जो स्टार्टअप कल्चर देख रहे हैं, वेल्थ क्रिएशन की बात कर रहे हैं, फंडिंग की बात कर रहे हैं. तो मुझे पहले तो बताओ कि कैपिटल ए इज़ द वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट फर्म दैट यू डू. व्हाट डज इट डू? उसका क्या फोकस है, क्या पर्पस है? मुझे आप वो थोड़ा सा प्लीज़ कैपिटल ए के बारे में, एंड देन वील डीप डाइव इनटू सम वेरी कंट्रोवर्शियल क्वेश्चंस आल्सो.
Capital A is an early stage venture capital fund based out of Bangalore. We carved out 25 million, roughly about 250 crores from the family wealth to invest in early stage startups. We started this in early 21.
January, na?
January sometime.
February, correct.
With a singular mission of investing in meaningful businesses. Businesses who are building with a path to profitability from day one. It need not be profitable from day one, but there needs to a clear path for revenue, scale in different sectors. We started with a sector agnostic approach, and then we said that let us build a thesis. Every VC fund, most VC funds have a thesis or a sector that they go after. And for us, we were very clear कि manufacturing करी है हमने पूरी जिंदगी. We'll go after B2B businesses. We will go after tech. We'll go after climate tech, fintech, and anything that builds in the B2B business.
तो 250 करोड़ डिप्लॉय हो गया सारा?
नहीं अभी
How much has been deployed?
I think we will. So क्या होता है कि हर स्टार्टअप में सिमर we deploy the first check for the first 3 years.
Okay.
उसके बाद हर फंड का टेन्योर होता है 9 साल.
Okay.
And we deploy this. The first checks get deployed in 3 years. उसके बाद follow on rounds होते हैं. उसके बाद और follow on rounds होते 9 साल लग जाती है exit मिलने के लिए, अच्छी exit मिलने के लिए. So far we've deployed close to about 50 odd crores.
Okay. Out of the 250.
Out of the 250.
Okay.
Once we hit 100, then we will start doing the same companies we'll support for more infusions, up rounds and
so abhi tak मतलब 25 companies you're saying that Capital A has already invested. It's been about 2 years now?
In a short span of 2 years.
That's a yes. And what do you as a fund, right, as a founder of Capital A and as a venture capitalist, what are the like 3 things that you look in a founder?
24 घंटे अपने स्टार्टअप के बारे में सोचना है और उसके बारे में ही सपने देखना है और अपने टीम को संभालना है. सो the founder passion, it's cliche, but the founder passion is paramount. Number one. Number two, not all founders are meant to build in a space they choose to build. I mean, some of a great fintech founder need not be a great automobile or EV business founder. So the founder market fit is also very important, more than a product market fit. Whether the founder is the right person to build in that particular domain. He may be a brilliant IIT, IIM topper in his academics, but if he chooses the wrong field to build in, he will miserably fail. So the founder product or the founder market fit is extremely important. And finally, clarity on what they want to do, courage to make choices and deal with the consequence of those choices. If they have clarity to consequence, I think it's more than half the
three
job
C हो गए
done.
ना, courage, clarity and consequence.
So clarity, choices, courage, and consequence. If they're able to get all of these four things right, more often than not, they're likely to succeed.
As an investor, how do you see right now the enormous amount of wealth that has been destroyed by so many founders, so many companies, right? And where does the accountability lie? Like I don't understand that part. Like this is just from the other side, but I don't understand that how do you invest in a loss-making company? How do you invest in a company that has एक तो चलो loss making हो सकता है, right? But how do you invest in a company which has no intent to earn profit, right? How do you see this area? And a lot of these, ed tech companies are in news these days, right? How do you see that in the today's scenario?
That's $1 trillion question, pun intended. But no business can be profitable from day one. चाहे अगर आप वो
True.
आप अपनी खुद की बिजनेस कर रहे हो, स्टार्टअप हो या नॉन स्टार्टअप हो. आज के दिन when my father started the business, that was also a startup.
Sure, absolutely.
ठीक है, but to expect the business to be profitable from day one is unfair. As long as they know that after a certain time, when I do my prototyping, when I'm able to get my first 10-15 customers, when I'm able to establish proof of concept and product market fit, I think I will be profitable, or at least cash flows will start coming in. Burning of VC money is a combination of problems created both by VCs, by founders, and to some extent the glamorous world that we live in. I keep telling many kids that it looks so sexy from outside. It looks so glamorous from outside. But that journey of that entrepreneur to start it, register his company, to pitch to 100 investors before he gets that first yes, and then to build a business side by side and then also keep raising money is a very overwhelming task. तो ये जो VC burning money है, that lens has completely changed after 2021. That entire mindless deployment of money that you have seen
Without
by
any headway of profitability or cash flows or
कुछ
anything.
नहीं, वहाँ पे एक ही मकसद था, जितने यूजर्स आप एक्वायर कर सकते हो,
Right.
जितने आप कस्टमर्स गेन कर सकते हो, वही एक सिंगुलर मिशन था उस समय. I think that shift has taken
has
place in the
changed.
last couple
मैं
of years.
एक चीज़ आपको और पूछना चाहता हूँ इसमें, and I want your take as a venture capitalist, and a lot of my friends are also जो बैंगलोर या हैदराबाद या बॉम्बे में build कर रहे हैं,
Yeah.
great companies build कर रहे हैं. I have spoken to them at length, right? And उनका भी perspective different रहा है. वो बोले कि यार we have shown profitability, but it's sometimes the investor from the other side कि नहीं अभी profitability छोड़ो.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
What's your take on that? Is it actually real that's happening?
It happens more often than not. क्योंकि कभी कभार ऐसा होता है कि if you're in a business where you see that एक opportunity होता है कि that's your opportunity to grab customers, एंड प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी को बैक बर्नर पे शिफ्ट किया जाता है कि एक बार पहले कस्टमर्स अक्वायर कर लो, उनको आदत डलवा दो, उसके बाद
यू फोकस ऑन दैट, है
अपने
ना?
आप आएगा. स्मार्ट फाउंडर्स नो व्हेन टू स्टॉप दैट कस्टमर एक्विजिशन स्प्री.
क्योंकि देयर इज अ कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्वायरिंग अ कस्टमर आल्सो, राइट? वही तो पैसा बर्न हो रहा है ना.
Exactly.
करेक्ट.
Smart founders are able to figure out when to balance that when to infuse financial discipline while acquiring the customers. I think the moment you're able to do that, then there is no problem.
What's your take that, and I keep writing this on my LinkedIn and other things, that the over glorification of companies which are not accountable and loss making, right? um, like a Karyana store right now, which has been operating since last 32 years in our Nukkad का, is more profitable, has more cash flows, and COVID में उन्होंने अपना जो छोटू भैया
Most
होता है वो
definitely.
निकाला नहीं,
हाँ जी.
राइट? अभी भी काम चला रही, सैलरी इस टाइम पे दे रही है, फायरिंग कोई नहीं हो रही, ओवर हायरिंग नहीं की उन लोगों ने.
बिल्कुल.
सो from a VC perspective, right, what is this message to many founders which are seeing you, because you are their prospective investor also, right? And they want to pitch you their ideas, but what is your sort of litmus test, right? How do you sort of differentiate?
I saw the first 6 months when I started Capital A. The first 6 months, I saw the deployment of irresponsible capital, and it lasted only for 6 months. So after that, that shift has happened. We saw 1 year of literally an all-time low of deployment of capital.
Right. This is 21, like 22.
22.
22,
Right.
correct.
Now we are seeing some offshoots of recovery, but whether it is recovery at a sustained level, we don't know. Only time will tell. But I think the message to founders is very, very clear. Don't get trapped in this valuation game. Don't get trapped in what the investor. Don't build for the investors. Build it for yourself.
This is an investor telling them.
Don't build it for the investors. Because the outcome of a business
Beautiful.
is never going to be investor driven.
Beautiful.
आज when Kedara came in,
Yes.
and
You were not
told
building
us,
for them, na?
we were not building for them. We were still doing what we did.
Right.
And they said that use us, leverage us wherever you find the opportunity. I think if that we are able to form some sort of a beautiful marriage like that with the founders, that look, we are available, we are there to help you build the business, use us. You do have a fiduciary responsibility towards investor money, like Amaniji said, but business is business. Run it like a business. Don't get trapped.
How do people reach to Capital A? And what is that like? थ्रू दिस पॉडकास्ट तो हम कुछ तो एक हैक आप बता के जाओगे ना सबको, कि मतलब लाइक 2 things और 1 thing दैट यू नो, आज के लिए ट्रेंड है ना 2 things 3 things 1 thing दैट इफ दे रीच आउट एंड इफ दिस, ये अगर उनके पास है तो यू विल बी इंटरेस्टेड और कैपिटल ए वुड बी इंटरेस्टेड.
The way to reach out to a VC fund and the method in which a founder reaches out to a VC fund itself is the first line of evaluation that a fund does to a founder. I remember this founder who we ultimately didn't end up investing. Relentlessly in one day, I got 5 different folks reaching out to me that here is this great company who wants to talk to you and pitch their idea to you. The best way to do that is build a very genuine LinkedIn presence, because currently that is the go-to social media for any founders. The other thing is founders also need to realize that fund managers or a general partner of a fund like myself or my colleagues, we see 400, 500 deals a month. We invest in one.
Okay. That's the rate at which you do.
That's the statistic around the world for any good VC fund.
Okay.
Be precise. Say what you want, the space that you're building, what's your ask, and what you'll do with those funds. And if you are able to add some element of marketing in it, some hook that drives the fund towards you, I think your job is done. I recently we were still in the paperwork, but we recently invested in a company which pitched to us in शुद्ध हिंदी. उसने अंग्रेजी की एक शब्द भी इस्तेमाल नहीं करी पूरी पिच में.
कोई लैंग्वेज मैटर नहीं करती.
No language barrier.
And I think he is the best example because मैं इनको जब पहली बार मिला था एंड मैंने पूछा था कि मंजूश्री क्या करता है, उन्होंने बोले थे कि कहते सिमर कोक पिए, कोक या पेप्सी की बोतल से पिए. मैंने कहा हाँ पिया है, तो कहते हैं वो हमने बनाई है. एंड आई दैट इज योर पिच एंड दैट इज वाई. फिर तभी अब समझ आता है ना केदारा एंड एवेंटस, एंड क्योंकि आप इतने प्रिसाइज थे, आपका मिशन इतना क्लियर था, एंड आई स्टिल रिमेंबर दिस इज द वन लाइन एंड आई जस्ट अंडरस्टूड द एंटायर बिजनेस. अच्छा ये लोग ये करते हैं.
I think, yeah.
That's so beautifully said. So beautifully said.
Clarity. So clarity leads to all of these things. And never ever say that I will not pitch to a analyst or a junior associate of a firm, because we do not have time to evaluate every 500 deals. The first line of defense is the junior associate or the senior analyst in a fund. They are the ones who
उन्होंने present करना है.
वो present करते हैं.
That is for all the founders, है ना.
So do not ever bring your ego in, even if you've built 15 years, even if you were a CEO in your previous role and you're building a startup. I think calibrate yes, you do not need to pull yourself to a level where, you lose sight of what you're doing. But I think the analyst and the associates usually in a good fund will be the first line of defense.
घुमा फिर आगे देखो ना, ह्यूमिलिटी के बिना कोई सस्टेनेंस नहीं है ना. मतलब जितनी भी ग्रेट कंपनीज और ग्रेट फाउंडर्स बने या ग्रेट प्रोफेशनल्स बने, अल्टीमेटली सब में एक कॉमन चीज़ है, ह्यूमिलिटी ने उनको सस्टेन्ड एक्सेलेंस या सस्टेन्ड सक्सेस दिलवाया है ना. अंकित भाई, लास्ट दो चीज़ें, व्हाट इज़ योर पर्सनल विजन? क्या बिल्ड करना चाहते हो कैपिटले? कहाँ देखते हो कैपिटले को नेक्स्ट 5 साल, 10 साल, 20 साल में?
आई थिंक वी आर ट्राइंग आवर बेस्ट. How can we build a VC fund investing in new age, early stage startups founded by youngsters, and yet not entrap them in this valuation game? Yes, you have to make money, but how do we help them go through this journey of entrepreneurship without losing sight of impact for what they build and impact for their audience? The impact for founders and the founders' audience remains paramount for us.
India 2047. I ask everyone, जितने भी लोग गेस्ट पे आए हैं, 100 साल होंगे आज़ादी पे. I've written my mission statement of Hatek, where I want to see us as an organization. I feel that this is India's century, and I think we share the same feeling. क्या देखते हो सर इंडिया 2047 में? 100 साल आज़ादी में, मतलब what do you think next 25 years?
I think we are extremely lucky that we are born in an era where we have seen India come out of this entire tag of a snake charmer nation, and to be called as one of the largest democracies in the world with the top 10 GDP. It's nothing short of an immense feeling of pride.
Absolutely. And on that always optimistic note, we'll thank you so much, Ankit bhai, for doing this. Thank you for especially coming down from Bangalore, coming to our studio for doing this. Our intent is, through this journey, even if we are able to inspire even one person, I think we feel that this is our seva, this is our community development, and I think our work will be done.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for doing this, Simar. And Komal, I think it's incredible that your mission I think you're on a very important mission to educate people. Thank you to everyone who's involved in producing this, and I look forward to seeing
दोबारा करेंगे 2.2 भी करेंगे दोबारा. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.